Having trouble with the viscous damped fan on the Viva at the moment. It really should go that way, but it's locked solid. So fortunate I have a spare, so this is today's job. Okay, see how it goes. Spare fan ready to go in. Just hope it's not new, so just hope it's better than the original one. Very little space between the fan and the radiator, so clearly the radiator has to come off. Right, we will try that. Take off the fill panel between the radiator and the front, obviously taking the screws off, and there you go, leaving you plenty of space once you take the radiator out to remove the fan. Okay. Fuel complete with antifreeze, just draining in a minute, so yeah, I've got it in a bowl so that we can reuse it. It's fairly new stuff, so I'm not going to replace it. I'm just going to use it again. Okay. Take the side panel fastenings off. Okay, that's the radiator out, and there's the viscous fan unit ready to go in. So far, so good. One thing that's clearly important before you start this job is to appreciate that the bolt which attaches the hub unit is actually left-handed, so obviously everything's the opposite way in regard to tightening or loosening. I found actually it was a little bit difficult to actually loosen the bolt, so I use a small extension like that. Oops, it's fallen over, never mind. But that's yeah, that helps a great deal. But yeah, well worth understanding that before you start either tightening it or taking it off the wrong way. Okay, removing the fan. So yeah, the piece of tube steel did the business, and there we go, nice and free. Okay, so I've got the fan removed, obviously. One thing that strikes me is that the fan blades are not equidistant around the circumference of the hub, and Haynes manual, there you go, actually suggests marking the blades to the hub to put them back in the same position. Now I can't do that because I'm going to swap the one on the left for the one on the right, but I've got the new one, so to speak, in the same position as the old one, and I'm going to take the 4 bolts off that remove the blades, put that back in the same way. So let's hope for the best. Okay, so we'll swap the fan for the new hub. and there are little slots that sit on a shoulder of the hub, and that's where the bolt positions are. So now we will put the bolts back. Yeah, this is the old one, and if you try and move that bearing there, it's only my thumb that's moving. It is absolutely rock solid. Now the new one, it doesn't spin, it's not supposed to spin, but it moves. It is not rock solid, so obviously the old one, this one, is not working very well. And the whole point of it was when the engine gets about 1,000 revs a minute, the fan, instead of sort of going round, actually comes to a halt. So it saves energy in regards to the engine driving the fan around. That's the theory, and theoretically that is supposed to save you, as I say, energy, which of course equates to petrol. So it's supposed to be a little bit more economical. I've never done one of these. I think they're a very reliable unit. Interesting to see that the new one has, if you can see it, Huddersfield marked on it. So yeah, you don't see many things, many car parts nowadays with Huddersfield stamped on it. Good old Huddersfield. That is the new one, as I say, and the old one is the original one, so it's not done too bad, so I'm not too bothered. But yeah, I just thought I'd have it actually working as it should be. Okay. So right, there we go. The unit's back on, including the fan. Not forgetting to tighten it relative to it being a left-hand thread. Very important. Yeah, it's viscous coupled fan, which is a sealed unit which is filled with oil and permits direct drive up to about 1,000 revs a minute. And at higher engine speeds it slips and progressively reduces the fan rotational speed and therefore the noise, which is not too bad a thing. Due to the higher forward speeds of the car, the cooling effect is unimpaired because of the the greater sort of ram effect of the air passing through the radiator. Fuel economy will be improved in theory, as the fan obviously doesn't require so much engine power to drive it. In theory, yeah, it's an improvement over a fixed fan, and many modern manufacturers use them, so it can't be too bad, an idea, and I just want to keep it as original as possible. So there we go. Hopefully now when we get the radiator back on, coolant back in, everything sort of bolted up and clamped up, and yeah, it's certainly, as you can see, nice and free, where the old one was absolutely solid, and therefore just the fan went round, but just as a direct drive, if you like. Therefore was actually quite noisy comparative to what this should be once the engine speed increases. Okay, so hopefully job completed. We'll see when the engine's running and the radiators are back in. Since mentioning that the blades are not equidistant to each other, I was interested to know why. And to be truthful, I googled it, and it seems that it's all to do with harmonics. I'm not really knowledgeable in the science of harmonics, but in simple terms, if you make the blades unequally distance rather, it actually improves the harmonics, or in other words, it makes the fan unit quieter. Now, obviously there was some research done by Vauxhall back in the day, because this was the original fan unit that was on the car, or this type of fan unit was on the car, viscous fan unit, in 1974. So they understood it clearly then. But lots of car manufacturers, including, for example, Mercedes, so did some investigation into the harmonics of blades on fans, and found that if you do this scientifically and make sure the blades are not quite equal in distance from each other, that actually makes the whole thing quieter. I must admit, I don't fully understand that. I've never seen propellers on aeroplanes, for example, in unequal distances, but I'm sure somebody will tell me about that. Yeah, interesting, but that's the reason apparently. Okay, so the cooling system's been all topped up again, radiator back, fan on, going around like a little gooden, and everything seems to be okay. Just checking the coolant is going round as it should do. It's nice and warm. Radiator clamp is tight. It's warm. You're probably aware one of the important things before draining the coolant and refilling the coolant is to make sure the heater valve, everything is on. In other words, the heater is on. Otherwise you will get an air block in the system about here, and that's nice and hot now, and that's nice and hot, so the coolant is going around without any air locks, not blocks, locks. So everything seems to be good. If you do get an air lock, if you put a button to open the valve to the heater, sometimes you can get rid of the air lock by undoing this and getting the air out. But I seem to have got away with it on this occasion. Many years ago, I neglected to do that when the engine ran slightly hot to just above the normal range, and when you came to the nearest big hill, the engine seemed to let out one great belch, and because of the incline of the hill, the airlock escaped, and the temperature gauge went back to normal. But on this occasion we seem to be okay. Yeah, the engine's been running for actually about 15 minutes now, so that is a good indicator. As you can see from the temperature gauge, it's been just running 15 minutes at an idle speed in the garage, and the temperature gauge is just below normal, so that seems to be ideal. I might take it for a run now just to check it, but seems like the job is a good one, as you say. Okay, bye for now.